Gretel, Mother, I'm home.
Just in time for breakfast, Hans.
You'll never guess what happened. Mother, guess.
What is it, Hans?
Well, there's going to be a big race in honor of Madame Van Gleck's birthday. Gretel, remember I told you about it?
Yes, Hans.
Well, just after you left, while I was skating, Madame Van Gleck's daughter Hilda came by. She asked me if we were going to be in the race. I told her we probably wouldn't be because we don't have real skates to race in, only these wooden ones. And then you know what she did?
What, Hans?
What was it, my dear?
Well, she said at least one of us should be in the race, and she'd try to give me 8 pieces of silver to buy a pair with.
8 pieces of silver? Did you take it, Hans?
I hope you didn't, Hans. We may be poor, but we take only money that we earn, nothing else.
Well, that's what I told her, Mother. But she said I was so good at making things that if I made her a wooden necklace like Gretel's, that would be fair return for the 8 pieces of silver. So I agreed. Isn't that wonderful? That means one of us will be able to enter the race for the silver skates.
Oh, Hans, that is wonderful. Well then, which one of you will it be?
Gretel.
Hans.
Well, you two decide between you.
Hans, I know. We can get a pair that's a little too small for you and a little too big for me. Then we can take turns using them. Won't that be fine?
Nonsense, Gretel. No, you're the better skater of the two of us, so you shall enter the race. And you shall have a pair of skates that fits exactly. And then you must practice every day until the big race. You shall win the silver skates.
Oh, Hans, how wonderful.
And I'll tell you something else. While I was talking to Hilda, Peter Van Hulp came by. And he wants a wooden necklace too, for his sister. So I can make one for him and then we'll both have skates.
Oh, Hans, that's wonderful.
Only...
What is it, Hans?
Mother, you need so many things here in the house. A new treadle for your spinning wheel or wool to make a new coat. We don't need 2 pairs of skates. I'll give you the money that Peter gives me.
No, my child. You are good to say that, but if you are earning the money yourself for your handiwork, then you must keep it.
But we need food, too.
Hans, that may be true, but your silver pieces could not buy everything. Oh, if only we could get back the money that was stolen from us long ago. Then we would be all right again. I pray to St. Nicholas that the thieves would bring it back to us, or at least that he may brighten our wits, so we could find it ourselves.
Find it? But you've almost pulled our whole cottage apart looking for it.
Oh, I wish I knew where it went.
Do you think Father could tell us?
Maybe he could, Hans, but he cannot talk. He shows no sign of knowing anything, or seeing anything, or saying anything. He sits here, day after day. Poor, sweet man.
Maybe he used the money to pay for the big silver watch. You know, the watch we've been guarding since that day.
The watch? Yes, it is valuable, Hans, but it is not worth a quarter of the money that disappeared. The money your father and I had saved up.
Then where did the watch come from?
That we'll never know, Hans. I've shown it to Father many times, but in his illness he does not know it from a potato. He brought it home that dreadful night, the night he had the accident.
What happened, Mother?
Well, Hans, that was the night there was a dreadful storm. Father came home for supper, as usual. But just as he did, Mr. Clatterboost came running up to the house. He was saying that the dikes were in danger, and that if they weren't looked after immediately, the great storm waters would crash over them and our village would be drowned in the sea.
Then what, Mother?
Your father was one of the bravest, strongest men in the village. Everyone knew that. When he heard there was danger on the dikes, he ran out of the house that very minute to join the men. That's the last I saw of him in his right mind. Later that night, some of the men carried him home.
Carried him home? What happened?
He had fallen off the highest dike, and his poor head was all bruised and cut. And he was in a fever. The fever passed in a day, but Father has never spoken since. And that was 10 years ago. He sits day after day as you see him now. He is physically all right, but his head, he never says anything.
Maybe we can sell the watch.
No, Hans. Father said it was important we keep it, and I should starve first before I go back on my word to him. Besides, he may wake someday and ask for it.
May wake, Mother? wake up and know us? Do you really think he will?
Such things are possible, Hans.
Then you are right, Mother. We will keep the watch. For Father's sake, we will always guard it. But maybe someday...
What, Hans?
Well, maybe the money will turn up when we least expect it.
Oh, no chance, Hans, no chance. 1,000 guilders, that we saved little by little over so many years, and then gone. All at once gone.
Have you tried to ask Father about it?
Oh, yes, son, many times. But Father doesn't hear, he only stares into space. Even last winter, when you and Gretel were sick with fever and our bread was almost gone. Oh, I tried. I asked him and asked him, but it was as if I was talking to a stone. Oh, poor loving man. Do you remember Hans? Gretel, you were too young to remember him that way. But Hans, do you recall how big and strong and wise and happy Father always was? A fine figure of a man he was. Then.
Yes, Mother. I remember. And he will be so again, I know.
Oh, Hans, you are a wonderful comfort to me. And you too, my Gretel.
Don't worry, Mother. Things will be better. We are growing up and we'll take care of you, and Father too.
You are good children. Now go and play.
Come on, Gretel, let's go skating. We have to practice for the big race and those silver skates.